Alright, draft physics video, kind of the old style with comments, so I might need to draw, so holding the camera and whatnot. Anyway, alright, great to have some mental exercise, blah blah blah, very nice, thank you, blah blah. Anyway, okay, this guy, Gristel von Rabin. Where's my mouse is working now? It's this one over here. It's not in a convenient position. Anyway, just so, I mean, this isn't even close to being on the subject. Alright, once you understand the reality of subspace, you know, yes, like on Star Trek, well, whatever. There's no faster than light communication. I don't know why you think there's a subspace. There's no evidence of a subspace. If there were, if gravity was instantaneous, then every movement in a planet, any vibration in the planet, would be conveyed through movement in its gravity, and it would be communicating faster than light then. I mean, theoretically, you could send a bomb to Saturn, blow the bomb up, shake the planet, change its gravity, and hear the signal faster than light. This isn't going to happen that way. I mean, this is just so arrogant. Once you understand, then you'll understand how obnoxious your comment is. Once you understand that you're full of shit, doing TV physics, you know, not even trying to get it right. Like antenna arrays, I don't even know what that means, right? Like on Star Trek, and resonance. I don't even think you know what these words mean. You will understand my theory. Well, your website doesn't have any theory. It has a molecule on it. I don't really want to watch a molecule video. Because you are getting close to mine. You're just, you know, I think I will. I'll just delete your comment, but I won't block you yet. But I mean, it's just so fucking obnoxious, you stupid fucking cunt. You don't have anything written or presented that shows any kind of description of reality. Even the fact that you would use something like subspace. There can be nothing about my theory that has anything to do with your stupid theory, because mine eliminates sub-dimensions, sub-any shit. I am, however, listening to you and seeing if your ideas apply. Well, you're not listening very well, because you'd know how much you're pissing me off if you paid any attention at all. And like I said about Kenneth Wheeler's ideas, I believe his theory and your theory apply more to the mechanics of how strings vibrate and work. So apparently you just don't pay any goddamn attention. I mean, I'm pretty much describing a completely ball-bearing kind of description of reality. No strings whatsoever. None of that shit. It's all cannonballs, for fuck's sake. It's just so annoying. And, I mean, the only thing in common with strings is, at least my theory, you know, this dotted line thing of compression and rarefactions is like akin, but it has nothing to do with waves. It's machine guns versus shotguns. And that is an area I have not delved into very much, other than the idea that strings detach sections of themselves to form different clouds of particles. There's no clouds. Cloud is you know, that's for matter. It's not something that the nuclear physics is doing. That interact with each other as protons, electrons, and quanta, and even smaller particles too. Quanta, don't you see the whole, you know, it's just so stupid. They invented this word quanta to say, look, we've done the smaller thing. This is it, quanta. Quanta is the smallest thing. You don't go smaller, you don't go sub-quanta. No point in coming up with a word like quanta if you're going to do this to it, shithead. You may ask, why the fuck do I let people comment on my videos? Why do I believe in subspace? Because you're a fucking retarded, you know, you believe in what? Talking snails. Named Gary. Because of spooky action at a distance. Well, there is no such thing. And the fact that gravity moves faster than light. in our dimension. Where do you get evidence of that shit, moron? Idiot. Fucktard. But it would not if it was in a smaller dimension. Well, that just makes so much fucking not sense. Look, there are 3 dimensions. Forward, back, up, down, left, right. That's it. That's the universe. Nothing else. There's no other universe. Just that. That's it. The stuff in there. That's it. And time is a function in those 3 dimensions. Not anywhere else. In those 3 dimensions. Yeah, I'm going to delete it. It's a stupid comment. Alright. Does density affect the level of compression? Well, I mean, what's the point? Does density affect compression? Compression is an increase in density. I mean, you don't get that? Like, okay, they're this close together, and then out here they're this close together. You see? See how that's a change in density right here. See? Density. Less dense, more dense. Compression, more density. Yes. Or does all matter compress quanta equally? Well, how much or less it's compressed. This has to do with the frequency of light. So you can sort of understand that if a material body is, as I'm describing, a bunch of directional arrows, so just imagine these close together little circles are things moving in a direction, theoretically. And then you have this less stuff out here. Okay, so that's the idea. Less stuff, less space, more space outside than inside. And when light comes out, what it's doing is it's adding compression. Okay, so these would be polarized to the same polarization as this atom, let's say. And that creates the frequency that you call light. Because it's adding compression to the field moving that away. See, there's stuff moving. See, that's where it's sort of like strings in the sense that there's always stuff moving in every vector. It's like a train track, and it's like compression would be the tracks getting narrow, and then the tracks get wide for expansion, something like that. So there's strings that get fat and thin, but I just don't even like the idea of getting into strings. This is about discrete bits, quanta, real quantum mechanics. Alright, so I answered this question, so I'll get rid of it, because it just creates confusion. Let's see, you look like crazy scientist from comic book. That's a useless comment. I don't see any real point. Excellent, simple explanation of Einstein's symmetry of imaginary energy source. Yes. So yeah, well, okay. So that was one of the videos where I explained how. See, this compression thing is the same thing as Einstein's gravity well. What matter's doing is it's consolidating quanta, and it's creating this thickness of it. And so that, in a sense, is doing the same thing as the idea of the bent space. This is like I'm showing you the weight for the bent space. And so, yes, theoretically, it's, so it's duplicating the same idea of the expansion and then the compression going in. But it has the added feature of getting rid of Einstein's notion of attractive force when it's the force outside that's pushing in. Okay, it's the shadowing effect that really explains why gravity actually works. Why the compression means something is because as things are accelerating, they're compressing in the one dimension they're compressing in. So we're back to, I have to come up with a good way to draw it, but we're sort of back to this idea, that things are moving in these 3 dimensions, up, down, left, right, and as you're pushed in one dimension, that means that dimension thickens, compresses, holds more quanta, and the other dimensions release it. So they're creating compression outside and such. And the key feature to remember too is this. It just explains everything. I mean, push and pull. I mean, I've been over that, but it's just so much, it's so obvious how much easier it is to create a push mechanism than a pull mechanism. So, I mean, this was another one of those, physics just had these choices, and it's just, they always made the wrong choice. Benjamin Franklin picked the wrong thing to call plus and minus. You know, they went with wave instead of particle, and they did push instead of, I mean, they did pull instead of push. I mean, it's just so, and these are catastrophic misassumptions, are bad axioms to build on. Alright, SD. I'll be honest, I love your videos and I learned some stuff, but a lot kind of passes me. I know you don't have time, but maybe make a blog or that sort of breaks things down a little. Yeah, well, I don't know if you can really, I mean, writing it is always going to sound more technical in my opinion. And I should be able to explain it. It's just that you have to start from some point and go through it. You know, it's so simple to me now that I know it. And it's all ordered in my brain. And so I do understand that, yeah, when I start at a certain position, I'm assuming some kind of knowledge of like Maxwell's laws or this or that or some other thing. And that's, you know, somebody who doesn't know what I'm talking about isn't going to know what I'm talking about. Even Ben Space, if people don't really understand the concept of space-time and what it represents in terms of an external explanation for gravity. I mean, external to the three dimensions we exist in. And so it's like a fake source of energy in that it assumes you can create movement of planets by altering an invisible field, a non-existent space field. And obviously my theory replaces that with something in these three dimensions. Anyway, I know that's a noob thing, but if you want more people to understand, I don't know a better way. Still love your work, but kind of gets beyond me. Maybe more visuals, like you did with the magnets. I just Googled you, and apparently you did. Well, it's kind of irritating when people write comments and then negate their own comment by their own research. But anyway, yeah. So the website though isn't. It's not entirely accurate. I mean, the first half is fine. The beginning, you know, it basically gets the idea of it. It's particle gravity, and particle gravity leads to an explanation for all of this kinetic function, which is the key axiomatic breakthrough in understanding physics. You know, kinetic. It's kinetic. No waves. Waves are just an emergent, an emergent property, but they're still quanta moving as bits inside the wave. The wave is just a school of quanta. Just curious, have you ever actually talked to him? That's kind of a nothing question, but I'll answer it. You know, I mean, it's just clearly you haven't watched the videos leading up to this. I mean, yes, I mean, I've never made a rude comment on his videos. I requested the honor of debating him when he claimed to love debating, and that he always wins his debates and he challenges anybody to show up. So I very politely requested the opportunity to be included in his next debate, or let me in the room, that kind of stuff. His claim was he didn't know how to let anybody in his open rooms, which was crap. And then he just blocked me. So, I mean, you know, and then somebody pointed him to a video where I challenged him to a debate, and he just mocked the whole idea. I'm just some naked guy on the internet, and he doesn't have to pay any attention. And so he's a dismissive, arrogant chicken. I mean, he's just such a coward, such a fraud in that sense. I mean, you don't go around claiming you own a subject when you're afraid of people who wish to challenge your ownership. I mean, it's just clearly pussy bullshit. And again, I'll block people for being obnoxious and rude. I never type rude comments on people's videos. So there's no hypocrisy here. I mean, you have an obligation in somebody's comment section to be on subject and to be civilized, in my opinion. Nobody has an obligation to, let the rude Jehovah Witness in the house. Just no obligation whatsoever. Alright, this is obviously an asshole. 3 comments on one video. There's just no reason to do that. It's just bullshit. Alright, not a pro like you, but I'll read them in this order, I guess. But what are your thoughts on all matter and energy having a form of consciousness? I mean, why? Your brain is a computer. That's what it is, okay? It works the same way. It distributes electrical information, and it pulls it out as bitmaps of symbolic representations of associations between things. You think of red, let's say red fire engine, and then, oh yeah, that's connected to ambulance, and ambulances are white and square, and that's connected to marshmallows, and blah 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 blah. So that's how the brain works. It's a computer. There's nothing magical about consciousness. It's an illusion created inside your brain. It's not a material thing. It's a byproduct thing. And why would you think this pen is conscious? It doesn't have a neuron 1. Neurons make consciousness. No neurons, no consciousness. Like an electrical connection, power, ground, and neutral. Of course, I have no real knowledge on this subject. Oh, that's the wrong guy. Wrong one. I guess they're all the same kind of woo-woo. It is said the slower the vibrational frequency. So again, back to, I'm just trying to say as loudly as I can, this whole wave vibration bullshit, that's a material thing. That's not physics. That's chemistry. The lower the consciousness, well, that's just stupid. And the conglomeration in specific different living beings creates the level of understanding. Well, I just don't know what you think understanding even is. 1 million years ago there were human beings. What do you think they were understanding? They were understanding what a gorilla understands. They had the same brain that we have right now. If you put them in school, they'd learn a language and they'd be just as intelligent as we are. They were fucking monkeys because they couldn't go to school. They couldn't learn anything. But that's the only difference. You read about evolution. Apparently you just don't understand what biology is. So the question is, can we in some way bring ourselves to a higher frequency? I mean, what is that shit? Vibration or consciousness? I mean, it's just it's worse than Jesus, for fuck's sake. You're just making this crap up. Bring ourselves to a higher frequency. Higher frequencies are like X-rays, idiot. They're not going to make you smarter. They're going to make you dead. Like superhuman. Thanks, man. Well, it's no point in thanking me because I just find this shit so irritating. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It's just fucking religion, for fuck's sake. There's no evidence of any frequency consciousness. Sorry, one more question. I heard that sound can travel faster than light. Just kill me. Just kill me. If it is a high enough frequency. The point is sound is made out of matter. Matter moving. Atoms. And atoms are like those big schools of fish. And you can't make the big school of fish go as fast as the fish all swimming in one direction. So if you have a school of fish and only 25% of them are going the right way, it takes a lot of force to make it be 100%. A lot of force. Essentially so much force that you convert the matter into quanta, light. You're not going to find enough force to do that. You're never going to. And again, so then it wouldn't even be a vibration anymore. It would just be a beam of light. I mean, this comes down to too that whole stupid whatever his name is guy with the stupid, you know, when they do this spooky action at a distance, you know, the entanglement crap, and that what's his name? Oh, I'm so pissed off about how I lose these names. Well, the A guy, I think his name is Experiment. It's just a famous one, and he has this stupid thing, this idea that of a mirror that can move fast enough, okay, that a beam of light only moving 10 meters, he can move it fast enough, okay, to make the light go one way or another way. And I was thinking about that, and I'm saying, no, the mirror is made out of matter, and there's no way you could move that matter faster, okay, than light traveling 10 meters, because you have to move too many molecules in the matter. The matter can never move nearly fast enough, even though it's going a much shorter distance. It's only going this far. It's still going to take it way longer to move that much matter, that tiny distance, than it is for light to move 10 meters in you know, moving the speed of light. And so, yeah, you're saying, oh, that's a fraud right there. Because we never get to know how his little secret weapon works. That's why the experiment's never been repeated, because I think he won't tell anybody how his little special mirror works. Well, anyway, there's something very weird about that anyway. That's a side subject, probably way too complicated for you people to understand what I was just saying, but it's very hard to move matter very fast. Sorry, one more question. Okay, might be a dumb question, but I would like to know. Thanks again. Well, it is kind of a dumb question, actually. Sound is all waves in mediums, as far as we know, okay, are all waves in molecules, that is, big atoms. And it's the tension between the atoms that's vibrating. So it's just atoms. They don't really bang into each other. They have force fields around them because they're always proton heavy. So they have an automatic field around them of electrons in that proton heavy, free electrons. And those compress as they move into each other, and then they push the other guy away. And there's a time delay between that pushing force, and that's essentially what creates the wave function. It's the time of induction. It takes all kinds of force transfers are a kind of induction. It's like, you know, one thing moves towards the other thing, and there's a field that's causing the reaction of the other thing, and it takes time for the field to affect the matter, and so there's always that delay. So you could never go anywhere near the speed of light in terms of vibrating whole atoms, because you have to move all the little bits inside of the atom to move the atom. Anyway, a dead ether, could it just be neutral? A dead ether, could it just be neutral? Dead and neutral is the same thing. I'm just saying that the only way you can make gravity is you have to create an ether that has energy in it, that's pushing. It's the only way it can work. So the ether, to explain gravity and magnetism, the two energy things they haven't explained. They haven't accounted for where's the energy come from. Well, the energy is coming from the universe, and it's just being converted into acceleration in the case of acceleration of material bodies in the case of gravity, and acceleration of electrons that release force, you know, more quanta in, quanta out, in the different direction, the perpendicular release of the EMF, and both are a function of the external field pressure. They're just a manifestation of it. Like a electrical connection, power, ground, and neutral. Well, this kind of stupid stuff. How exactly could I mean, you know how electrical connections work is that electrons have to be vibrated in the conductor. The material has to be a conductor. So you're saying there's this conducting conveyance in the ether somehow. And again, that's fine if you want to say there's a bunch of little bits, little sticks, and you poke one stick and then the last stick pokes the other end. But again, those dead sticks won't create gravity. Dead sticks can't create a push force, and dead sticks can't go through a magnet and come out as a force on the other end. Okay, they just can't do it. But I have a weird, you don't type too very well. Yeah. But I have a few houses. I have wired a few houses. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, wire is not space, and it just doesn't make much sense that your infrastructure for your physical explanation of the fundamental function of the universe relies on something. The infrastructure is more complicated than the structure, if you get what I'm saying. It's like having a foundation that's more elaborate than the building. I don't know. There's probably better examples. Thought there might be some similarities. No, but not sure. Anyway, cool stuff. Keep going. Thanks. Well, no, some of that I can tolerate, but some of it I just don't care for. Cool. It looks weird. Are you using a mirror? Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it's a Android tablet, actually. Yeah, I bought some broken ones. Less than $5 each. And they're really quite adequate for these kind of purposes. So yeah, it's been the new Android 5.0. Well, I know they're up to like 7 or something now, but yeah, you can do a lot of interesting things. So it's like I've been Androiding lately, and just a lot of, so I should be uploading stuff, interesting stuff. I mean, I got all kinds of stuff here to work on. I got, just way too many projects. Ken was talking about idiots like you from the cult of atomism. So exactly, so it's a cult, which doesn't make any sense at all. There's like millions of people. They don't exactly agree on everything. How do you even make this even mean anything to anybody rational? Herb. Oregon herb. Go ahead, pothead. You tell me what the truth is. Fucking idiot. Hey, DraftScience, where's Jennifer Greenberg? I don't even know who that is. Fuck you. I mean, I think I'll just block this guy. Yes, goodbye. Thanks for doing this. Theor is a fraud. He knows. He appeals to flat earth. Whatever this is. Mengekekologal truthers. You won't remember me from Stickham. I'm Santa Claus. Yeah, no, I don't really remember you, but Oakley Dope from Debate Faith. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Anyway, I have no clue what dielectric acceleration means. Yeah, well, the dielectric thing, yeah, he ought to just lose that word. But where he says things like compression and rarefaction, what he's basically saying is what I'm just saying, compression and expansion. But he's doing it with waves. So again, he's talking about wavelengths and all that kind of stuff, and that's just silly. So he misses the boat altogether. Oh, here's Gristle again. You made your point very well. His condescending attitude does make him look bad. I hope you never get that way. I don't see any problem with being condescending. If you got the goods and if you're willing to defend them. Like I said, I do public rooms. Anybody can just PM me anytime they want to have a debate, public debate. I mean, But yeah, he's obviously a pussy. So I'll defend my arrogance, but he won't defend his. And that's the part that makes him just such a piece of shit. All the big talk with no action. I mean, that's just such pussy shit. I never laughed so hard on YouTube. This was awesome. I don't think it could have been that funny, but whatever. Obviously, it's some kind of holodeck. Reverse engineering from inside won't go far. So this idiot thinks the universe is a holodeck. So yes, it's made by Martians or gods. At best, there is limits. Anyway, current knowledge is still very primitive. I just hate these people who think, we've made no progress whatsoever, And the funny thing is, as this is going to turn out, is the truth is really checkerboard. It's not even a chess game. It's checkers. And yeah, it's just that there's so much of it. It's just so hard to do all the figuring of all the what's happening, because there's just so many pieces on the board. But it's really just a simple principle. And even becoming a religion. I guess it's obviously some kind of holodeck. How do I make any sense out of this shit? I believe that Ken's idea is very much how holographic universe would work. I mean, so this idiot thinks the holographic universe has something to do, the holographic universe being, the whole information nonsense, and that somehow black holes have stored all the action that ever took place in the universe and somehow in their event horizon, which is just such a crock of shit. So anyway, I'm going to delete both these comments because this is just such crap. I don't even want it on my videos. Go type that shit on his videos. We don't do holodecks here. Alright, a bent space would be like an ether. Just fuck off. Alright, so this is the funny part, right? Because bent space is basically a framework, a grid work that changes the dimensionality, that allows for things to be, however you want to call it, creates a convergence. And this idiot is so clueless that he doesn't get that that's exactly what an ether would be like. That's exactly what Ken is sort of talking about when he's talking about compressions and rarefactions. No, you're such a fucking cunt. You're such a moron. No, you're a fucking moron. Look at your icon. Smiley faces in the cosmos, and it means something, huh, idiot? If you really think this statement is physically correct. Well, if you think bending a non-existent space is correct, you're an idiot. Something there's actually no evidence of. It's just a placeholder for the actual truth. A fake dimension where we make fake energy. We move planets with the fake energy in the fake dimension. So why don't you explain to me what the attractive force is? How exactly does the Earth, what tells the little photons and all the electrons and protons inside of the Earth to move towards the sun? How do they know to do that? What little magic angels push them in? Little bent space angels. Asshole. All of you ether guys, now I'm exactly the opposite. I was explaining Ken's ether theory. When do you get enough of that shit? You couldn't even say shit. He's such a pussy. Of course, a nonsense theory without the ability of falsification or making predictions. So again, this is, you go with the religion. So the Pope says, I'm infallible. Okay, and this is the way you make me fallible, is you have to prove God doesn't exist. And so if I make a false claim, in the sense that I establish that the only description of reality are descriptions of reality that you can somehow falsify. Well, that's not true. How do you falsify evolution? What predictions does evolution make? It's a description of how the process works, fucktard. Now, I am going to predict some things, like there is no such thing as gravitational lensing. All there is diffraction. If you shoot light or energy very close, radio waves, very close to the surface of a sun, it's obviously going to get scattered by the energy field around the sun. The particles are going to scatter the light and diffract it. But there's no such thing as gravitationally moving, okay, a photon. You can't do that. No chance. So, and I'll also argue that Heisenberg will be proven to be absolute useless nonsense, meaningless mush, because eventually we'll be able to aim energy at the two-slit experiment, and we'll know exactly where the little bit went, and we'll see that oh yeah, the light that goes near the edges diffracts a lot, and the light that goes in the middle doesn't diffract much at all. And that explains the pattern. No Heisenberg necessary. Alright, anyway, so I will be making predictions. From a shuddering, from a shuddering stupid YouTube blogger is much better than the real proven modern science, physics everyone is working with. Yes, proven, like dark matter and Huygens and bent space. You've proven those things. You've proven space is bent. You've proven that photons have waves in front of them made out of superforce. And you've proven there's matter in galaxies that only creates gravity where you want it and doesn't create any gravity where you don't want it, and you can't ever see it or reflect light off of it or do anything. It's matter that isn't, it's the invisible man matter. It's the matter the invisible man's made out of. Alright, working with and having brought successful results to technology, well, that's another canard. What technology grows on is experiments. Okay, people fucking with stuff. Theoretical physics doesn't create technology. And expanded the knowledge of physics. Yeah, well, fuck you. Look at that. Bristol had them comment on his stupid thing, but he's probably just a stupid, idiotic comment. People used to burn aromatic plant... What does this have to do with anything? Materials because they thought the good smell fought off bad smells that came with disease. And sometimes the aromatics did have chemicals that killed the airborne bacteria. Just because you can get good results from a theory does not mean that the theory is correct. Well, that's partially true, but the point is there's stuff called circumstantial evidence and there's stuff called hard evidence. And what physics is going to has a tough time with is finding hard evidence because these are little tiny bits. It's really hard to keep track of the little tiny bits. Alright, anyway, not only that, they may have burned materials for smells to make them feel better, relieve stress. I mean, why do people do this on my videos? Anyway, get rid of all that shit. Alright, can you provide, here we go again, can you provide falsification of your hypothesis? I don't even know what that means. Again, how do you falsify the theory of evolution? How do you falsify a model that fits the known facts? What do you want from me? Or can you... Or can your hypothesis make predictions? So it's the same argument again. Well, yeah, it can make predictions, but again, how are you going to test them? You know, it's just really hard. You can't see photons. You can't even really see electrons, technically, because as soon as you bounce a photon off of one, you're fucked it up. So you can't see where it's going, theoretically. You can only find out where it ends up. And the same thing is with matter, gravity, let's say. If I wanted to measure the energy coming off of me perpendicularly as I'm accelerated into the earth, I'd have to do it with a piece of matter. Because that's the only thing that's going to react to that field energy. But the unfortunate thing is the